Hey, everybody. Happy July. Can't believe it's July. So for those of you that haven't met us yet, Shannon and Gina, we thought we'd do a little something different this time and give you a quick intro and just do some chatting and catching up on where things are, what's going on for everybody right now. Shannon, tell the people who you are.
Hi, I'm Shannon. Yes, no. I'm personal trainer, coach, all kinds of fun things. Having fun, staying at home with COVID, ultra runner, Ironman.
Yes.
Not doing any of those things because of COVID.
Isn't that the theme for so many of us right now? The things we can't do because of COVID.
Yes. Yeah. What's been going on? So you moved.
Yes, I moved. I am Gina. I am a health coach, but I moved recently, and as part of that, I took a new job. Shannon and I are Cincinnatians historically. I've moved across country, West Coaster now, in Central California. So took a job out here, and it's been a good combination of the stuff that I'm passionate about and the stuff that I have background in from a work perspective. So it's been good. I get to be in the wellness industry, but still kind of doing some of the stuff that I used to do in my old corporate days as well. So it's been a good combo.
And you have awesome trails now to explore.
Yes, gosh, that's been good. It's I'll tell you what, the California trails versus Ohio trails, it is a little bit different. So, if do you ever use the All Trails app?
Mm-mm.
So that's an app I used to use that back home too. And you can just look up an area, or you can look up trails near me. You can do that and it'll kind of show you, but then it'll show you like people who've reviewed those trails, like they'll give it a star rating, and then they'll give you like commentary, so you can figure out like if a trail is totally overgrown or if it's been closed or any of that kind of stuff. But it rates the trail, and so it'll say whether it's easy, moderate, or difficult, and so you know what you're getting into, and it usually tells you the length of the trail. So I used to use that back home too, and usually, you get an easy one and it's like a paved road, and you can, it's barely definition of a trail. And you get a hard one and it's maybe like something at the nature center, one of the longer trails at the nature center, right? Well, if you pick a hard one out here, they mean it's actually hard. It has
like actually rooty and stuff.
Rooty and like cliffs, that you could fall off of and that kind of thing. But
that's a problem.
Yeah. So, but the scenery is great. So you can get some trails with some pretty awesome scenery and views and all that good stuff. So been thoroughly enjoying that. We've been hiking them. We haven't necessarily been trail running them yet.
Nice.
And some of them are not fit to be trail run, at least by me.
Yeah, like at least not yet.
Yeah. and
cool.
My dog, Xavier, who's laying on the floor over here, I think he now will go run and hide anytime we say hike, because we've worn him out.
He's like, I moved across country. I'm tired.
Yes. He says 1 to 2 miles is my limit. Don't make me do any more than that.
Oh,
yeah. For a day, the first time we took him, we ended up doing about almost 5 miles. And it wasn't a terrible, tough trail, but he was like limping for the next day. Not like hurt himself limp, but like sore limping.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Yeah, he's a little bit less excited now when we grab his leash.
He's like, no, what am I gonna do? No.
Yes.
Aww.
How are your chickens, by the way?
They're good. I'm actually sitting out here looking at some of them. Yeah. So we just got done with a pretty decent storm. So we have egg layers on one side of the yard and like a really cool coop. I'm trying to figure out if I can turn my camera around. I can.
Yeah.
So that bright green thing over there, that is for egg layers. And then like my huge garden over here. And then the white tarp thing, those are all meaties. So they're Cornish cross chickens. And those are the ones that you eat.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they're really cool. But yeah, we put everybody away really early just because we saw the weather coming in. But they've been doing really well. It's absurd that they're both chickens, like in my world. Like it sounds really weird. But we got this is our second set of meaties. We had a first set that we got like April 1st or 7th or somewhere in there, which is about 2 days after we got the egg layers. And so they're about the same age, but the meat birds just grow so absurdly fast, and they get their feathers so much faster, and they just change. It was almost wild to think that they were the same age, because
Yeah.
like the egg layers are still like these little kind of cute, like you think like the Easter little chickens, they're adorable and like they're just fluffy, and they're still like 4 weeks old and they barely have any feathers, like they have a few little ones on their wings. And the meat chickens were like 5 pounds and almost fully feathered and huge and mean.
And mean.
So mean. They're so
well, they know
mean.
what's coming. That's why they're mean.
I know, but like they're just, oh my god! Like the egg layers, I can go into their coop and they'll like eat little meals out of my mealies, little mealworms out of my hand, and like they're really sweet and they like almost coo at you and they're fine. But then the meat ones, like you take them food and you're like, here, I'm trying to like, please let me appease you, and they're pecking at you. God, they're awful. There's no love lost with that.
I guess. Okay, so when are they actually like producing eggs, the egg layers, and when do you harvest the chickens?
So the egg layers, I have 4 different breeds of egg layers because the hatchery nearby had like a rare breed sale and it was cool. Discovered the one won't be laying eggs for a year. That was an oversight. But 2 of them are Buckeyes and they should be laying here in the next like month or 2. 2 of them are Barnevelders and they should be laying in the next 2 to 3 months. And then the Jersey Giant is also in the next 2 to 3 months. And the I am Samani won't lay until next year.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have quite a collection of eggs.
Oh, they're all gonna be so pretty. They're all supposed to be like various browns and blues and whites and creams and stuff.
That's awesome.
And then the meat guys, they live for 8 weeks.
Okay.
It only takes them 8 weeks to get to that big. And the problem is like if you let them grow bigger than that, then they're really unhealthy and they kind of die on their own.
Eesh, that's sad.
It's kind of rough. It's kind of rough when you think about it, but it is what it is for that breed.
Has Finn gotten attached to them?
No, he loves the eggies because he can feed them and they're real sweet with them. And he likes the meaties until they get to the aggressive size. And so like right now he can still go in their pen and feed them and they're fine with him. But the last batch, we stopped letting them even come near the pen because they're just so mean. Like they try to take a chunk out of my cat. So they're awful. I'm telling you, they're little velociraptors. They're jerks.
Wow. Note to self. Stick with the egg layers.
I know, but like I like chickens. So I don't know what to say.
I mean, what can you do? Yeah.
I know. I mean, like all the races are getting canceled. So what have I done? I've turned into a crazy chicken lady.
Right? I guess so. Yeah. Speaking of all the races canceled. So that's one thing we've been talking about because gosh, I don't know how many you've been signed up for this year, but
oh God.
Yeah, for me, let's see. I'm supposed to do Nashville Marathon in April. That was canceled. I was supposed to do the half Flying Pig in Cincinnati in May, and that was canceled. Supposed to do the Trail Ragnar in Kentucky. That was canceled. And was supposed to do the full Berlin Marathon in September, and that's been canceled.
Don't forget the Heart Mini. That was canceled early on.
Oh, yes, that was.
Yeah. So I've got almost the same race. I've got the Heart Mini that was out. I was supposed to do an Ultra in April. That's out. The Pig is out. My half Ironman's out. That was up in Traverse City. Or supposed to be. And then my last one that's still holding on, which I'm just going to go ahead and cut it, is Chattanooga.
The full triathlon.
It's a full Ironman, and I'm just looking at it. My heart's not into the like hours and hours it's going to take to train. And when I know in my heart that it's not going to be that much better in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we're going to be going into, it's the last weekend in September. And so the fact that we're going to go through all the summer, everything's ticking up. Unless a miracle happens, that race isn't going to go off. So we're just kind of cutting our losses emotionally and just being like, all right, it's not happening.
Yeah, that's a great point because that's one that there's so much time and effort that you have to put into training that to do all that, knowing that it's probably going to get canceled anyways, it's just, that would be really difficult to do.
Yeah. And like with all the juggling, it's just, there's what if, well, we should train just in case. And then it's like, we missed out on our summer because we trained and it didn't happen.
Right. So it's interesting. So that is like our meaty topic for today. Speaking of your meat eaters, that's our meaty topic for today.
Yes.
is all these, you know, race cancellations. We've had so much change because of all the COVID stuff going on. And so people are probably thinking, you know, one, how do I stay motivated to do anything during this time? You know, what are the things that I can do? You know, one question might be, is it a good time to take a break? You know, all of that stuff is probably floating through people's heads. So, you know, I can say, so Shannon, you make my schedules for me for training. Shannon is my torturer, and makes all of my stuff for me. And because all of these been canceled, you know, I still want to maintain the fitness level and be able to, you know, do these races if one happens to stay on, or even just to, you know, continue to improve. So a lot of what you've had me do is really just maintaining some distance, kind of continuing to train at a decent level, but not at the level of like, you're going to be running a marathon in a month. So not crazy miles.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it's weighing the pros and cons. To your point, like, is it time for a break? Maybe, because we've all been racing. You've been racing pretty consistently for 4 or 5 years now. I'm trying to think of when we started. I was like, it's been a few years.
It has.
Yeah, without much rest. And so, like, there's rest of like just the flat out off season of it's winter, but shortly into winter, it's starting for the pig training. But yeah, no, I mean, there's a balance of like, if you stop too much, like I'm very interested, like next year, I feel like we're going to see like some of the fastest times ever or some of the slowest times ever, because people that were like gearing up for this year are going to like balance their fitness, just kind of keep a hold of it. And then that way they don't have as much to build base wise next year. It's already there. They can kind of like move to step 2 of training without starting. Or we're going to see those people are like, it's fine, it's all canceled, and just stop. And then next year they'll be like, oh crap.
Right. So. Yeah. Starting over, which is kind of an interesting thing to think about. So for me, or for people who have been racing a lot and they've been doing, you know, crazy distances, it probably is kind of a nice time to take at least a bit of a break. So, you know, give your body a rest for a month or 2. And that doesn't have to mean not do anything, but, you know, scale back and be able to recover. But then for people who have had a goal, like, you know, being able to get faster and set their PRs, or, you know, you want to be able to do a distance that you haven't done before, it's actually a nice opportunity to be able to work on that stuff and not have to meet a certain, you know, deadline that's 6 weeks away. You have some time now to be able to work on speed, or to be able to work on increasing your mileage slowly so that you don't get injured.
Yeah. Well, and some of the nice things, like right now, there's also a good time to shift. So some people are trying like mountain bike racing, and like, it seems like the smaller the race and the more like offshoot it is. Like ultra racing is now seeing this huge resurgence in the last, well, I guess just surge, not resurgence, in the last like couple of years. But now it's really taking off because they're about the only races right now happening. But some of them are still obviously getting canceled. But I've seen like different people on groups I follow and like different people I've talked to. It's been a good time, since you have so many people are like, maybe it'll happen, to crew for like different 100-mile attempts. Like I've been seeing a bunch of stuff on this studs racing, and then also on the race across Tennessee. It's a virtual race across Tennessee, where people are taking like a weekend and getting a few people together that it's like 4 or 5 close friends that you all know each other, you see each other, you know, nobody's sick, that whole mess. But then like you can kind of hang out and still socially distance while run, make a good go at a 100-mile race, but you don't have that like, well, the cutoff is 32 hours and I hit it in 36, or the cutoff is 24 hours to get this kind of award and I did it in 27. Like, you can gauge where you kind of are better and be like, okay, it's like a dry run without feeling like I've ruined myself for my race because the race didn't happen.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a good opportunity to just, you know, if you have a group of friends that you run with or that you train with, to be able to, you know, do something fun with them and join a new run group. So, you know, being new to this area, there is a group of trail runners that I found on Facebook. I have not yet joined them, but I'm planning to soon be able to join them and do some runs on the trails out here. Hopefully find some that are a little less rugged than some of the ones that we've hiked on. But yeah, that's a good way too, to just find some additional motivation to get out there and still do something.
Well, to your point of doing it with friends and stuff, we're trying to get something put together for the fall here, since you were with a group of other people that have had all the exact same races. You had a whole group going to Berlin, and now nobody's going to Berlin. So
and a bunch of people that were going to do the Flying Pig that now are not doing the Flying Pig.
Yeah. What did you guys? So I've been calling it the Everything is Canceled 2020 Marathon, just because I'm snarky and sarcastic. But Beth told me you guys had what is it? We'll Run for Coffee Bee, or
yeah.
what did you call it?
Yeah. So we have a group that we formed. It's probably been at least 3 or 4 years ago now. So a lot of us used to work together. And so we started a group that we called Will Run for Coffee. And we just kept adding people to our group. And we would just get together and do, a little after work run, or we would do a Saturday run. And then we started doing some races together and things. So yes, I think somebody came up with the Flying Coffee Bean or something like that.
Maybe
too.
That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah. There was some play on the Flying Pig and coffee.
Yeah.
That we haven't
and the
quite.
Queen Bee. Yeah.
And the Queen Bee. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, because that's one way. Like people, the problem that I've heard with the virtual races is like you're given like 2 weeks or a month and a half to like get your race in, and so you could just go out on a training run and be like, that one's good enough, and submit that information. And so a lot of people are missing like the camaraderie and the atmosphere, and then just being with other people that are maybe suffering at the same time, because you're like, maybe today's weather sucks. But that's the beauty of the virtual race. It's like, today it's 102. I'm going to do the race next week when it's not 102. But I think kind of the beauty of what we're sort of putting together here is like, you guys are all going to race together in a non-formal race. And it's going to be I feel like it's going to be a little better than just a regular training run. So you guys will have like mini aid stations we're going to set up, and like, I've been putting on Facebook that if people want to race with us, they obviously don't have to be with us, but it's got an actual date. It's going to have an actual time. And like, it's not run it in 2 weeks if you get to it. It's, hey, this day it's happening. And so it's an actual event that somebody can put on their calendar and say, this is what I'm doing.
Right. And you don't have to make, $150 investment in race fees to do it.
Right.
Yeah. And you still get to, you can schedule it with people that you've been training with. For one of the ladies in our group, our Will Run for Coffee group. So she's actually been trying to run her first marathon for, I think, 2 years now. And so she was scheduled to do the Flying Pig last year, I believe it was, and she got injured. She was supposed to do our Ragnar race last fall. That wasn't a marathon, but she was going to do the Ragnar race, and that got canceled because of the wildfires in California.
It got caught on fire. Yeah.
She was supposed to do Nashville. Nashville's been canceled. She was supposed to do Berlin. And so she hasn't had.
We should stop.
Yeah, we have been joking about that maybe she's the problem. And so we're not actually going to let her register for our little race until like day of. We're going to have same day registration.
Yeah. We're going to say, go. Oh, here you are.
Right. So, it's an opportunity too for her. Instead of just continuing to put it off, we can make a little race for her and get her to actually be able to. Yeah. And make a fun event of it.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. I think that'd be good. Because that's a lot of people are like, there are a lot of people that are bummed with everything being canceled, and they're like, what do I do now? What do I do now? So like kind of coping with the disappointment. And we all know it's really for the best. As much as we want to hate on this whole COVID thing and like hate on the race directors, hate on the communities that are saying, no, don't come here. But we know it's for the best. We're just disappointed because we made that financial and emotional and physical commitment to it. And now it's been taken away. And you're like, now what? Because like Ironman trains like 20 plus hours a week sometimes. Marathon training, I mean, you're out there almost every day running. So you're like, cool.
Yeah.
Crickets. Now what do I do?
Right.
So I mean, it's just finding other fun ways to still make it fun, still stay motivated, maybe go try a new hobby. Chickens.
I mean, I think that's the key really, is instead of filling the downtime with, cartoons and donuts in the morning, how do you find something that you can do that you still enjoy that doesn't mean that you have to be with 1,000 other people. So it could be the hiking. It could be you want to take up bicycling for a while. It could be that, there are tons of different things that you can get into and find a group that will support you in that too. So it's an opportunity as much as it is a pain in the neck.
Yeah, and some of those things naturally lend themselves to social distancing, like trail running, ultra running, cycling. Those things already, like, yes, you would start in a group, but you just kind of spread out, and there'd be hours that you wouldn't see people. And
Mhm.
like the trail running is just kind of naturally lending itself to, like, the aid stations were supported for some races, but a lot of them were still like figure it out yourself. Like, you fill a drop bag, you refill your backpack, and then you go. Unless you needed medical attention, there wasn't a lot that they were offered. Sometimes it's a table with a trash bag duct taped to it and a Gatorade cooler, and that's it.
Mhm.
And so I
Yeah.
think those are good options for people.
Yeah.
But
Definitely. It's all about coping with the changes and finding new ways to get around it, right?
yep,
Yeah. Have
yes.
you have you been taking advantage of the time to try out new recipes? Are you uh,
Yeah.
cooking up anything new?
Oh my God. So you know the peach truck, right?
Yes.
Yes. So one of my friends was not aware as to how large those boxes are. So I'm trying all the peach recipes. And I made a discovery last week because I think she split it with her sister and then she split it again with me because she's like, I'm not going to eat all these peaches. Like, it's a 25-pound box of peaches. And I made peach jam. And I discovered that jam is
The
fruit
jam.
flavored sugar. I was not
Yes.
prepared for that. But yeah, no, I've been trying different stuff with that. So trying peach jams. I tried a chutney, which I didn't know what a chutney was until a couple weeks ago. I just thought it was salsa. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
I've never made a
flavor.
chutney, I don't think, but they are
It's
good.
if you
I've
can make
had
a
them.
salsa, you can make a chutney.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a perfect time for the peach stuff. My dad makes peach jam from his peach
Mm,
trees, and I think he actually this year is doing some from the peach truck.
nice.
And it's pretty tasty, I must say. It is sugar, but
Yeah.
it's pretty tasty.
Oh my God. The recipe I tried, it said it was 4 cups of diced peaches to 7.5 cups of sugar.
Wow.
I'm like scooping it into my like saucepan there, and I got to 6, and I was like, can't. I physically cannot. Like, it hurts my soul to put more sugar in this. I'm just watching the pile grow and grow and grow. I'm like, nope. There's way
Right?
more sugar than peach now. I can't do it. And my husband Red was like, no, you have to put it all in. You have to put it all in. I'm like, no, I don't. It still tastes delicious. It's still fine. It's still great. It's maybe slightly less diabetic.
Yeah, slightly. Six
I didn't
instead
make
of
it that much.
seven.
Yeah. So I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my goodness. But no, yeah, I've been trying that. I've got my garden going here. It's not quite producing yet, but I've got a lot of flowers for all my squash and tomatoes. But have you found anything cool out there in California, like access to
Yeah.
any cool fruits,
Yeah.
veggies?
One of the best things is on the side of the road in all kinds of places you can find berry stands. So
Ooh, nice.
yeah, so lots of strawberries, blueberries, peaches and stuff too. So lots of fruits. The place, so we're in temporary accommodation here for a little bit longer as we're going to close on our house this weekend.
Nice.
Um, but the place that we were staying had a lemon tree in the backyard, and so we could just go out and pick some lemons off the lemon
Perfect.
tree. So I'm excited about being able to. We don't have much of a yard coming up in the house that we bought, but I'm hoping to be able to plant some fruit trees and do a little, some garden boxes in the back so I can
Oh
have
yeah.
my own little garden. But yeah, lots of good farmers markets too, and
Cool.
extended season on some stuff out here. So I'm excited about that.
Nice. Yeah, so
Yes.
with your packing and like moving and whatnot, so are you still able to, like, did you unpack your cooking stuff and then repack it and then unpack it and now you're gonna repack it and unpack it, or like?
Thank goodness no. So the good and the
Okay.
bad, yeah, the good and the bad of it is that we put most of our stuff in storage. So we had the movers pack it up. It's in storage out here, and we've stayed in furnished places.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
And then yes, we've got our stuff being delivered at the end of this week. So we'll do one unpack, which makes life
Nice.
a little bit easier.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to being able to. I haven't done any real creative cooking since we got out here, just in limited supplies in the places that we're staying.
Sure.
But yes, they don't have quite the amenities that I had back in my own kitchen. So yes, I'm missing my kitchen. I'm looking forward to that. Be able to do
Nice.
some more stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, hopefully it was helpful